him, and the Colossus shot won't hit the SCVs. It'll hit the Thor and not the SCVs. Now the Thor will be tanking quite well. So I'm not saying Thors is a counter to Colossus. I'm saying Thors in general are pretty good against Protoss because of their good tanking statistics and their ability to be healed. And the same is true for Marauders. A lot of people for a very long time have said, hey, you know what's really good against Protoss is Marauders and Medivacs. And that's true, but the reason it's true is because Marauders are a big, fat tanking unit, and Medivacs multiply their tanking a little bit more, and that just makes them good at tanky stuff. So the rest of this game is irrelevant. The units lost at this point is you've lost double him. There's just nothing you can do to stop him from winning this game. I know you named this game Denied My Third over and over, but that's not why you lost. You lost because that first battle went horribly bad because you didn't have any units to counter Colossus. It's really important, and this is why I stopped doing the 3 racks, because it's hard to understand the 3 racks' strengths. It has a strength that is limited to this range of the game, from right here, from 8 minutes up until the first Colossus pops. It is probably the most powerful Terran build. And then once the Colossus pops, it is useless. So the problem is that it's so hard to go from 3 racks into Air Force, and Air Force is the counter to Colossus, because you have to get the factory in between, and the factory takes money away from your racks and doesn't give you any units back in response. So the build time on getting a factory is 60 seconds, and then a starport is another 60 seconds, and then the reactor core for the starport is 60 seconds, and then the build time on the Medivacs is 45 seconds. So there's this big period of time between when you wanted to react to the Colossus and when your reaction actually shows up. And also, if you don't notice the Colossus are out until too late, like if we look at your view, the first indication you have that there might be Colossus is gonna be, like, he already has 1 Colossus, and now he has 2 Colossus, and you didn't see them right there, and now he has 3 Colossus, and now, so you can't just make a bunch of Vikings blind. You don't know that he has Vikings at this point, I mean, that he has Colossus at this point. It's a pretty good bet that he has either Colossus or Psystorm, but if you make a bunch of Vikings against someone who's going Psystorm, that's just a big waste of money. So this is the problem, is that you can't know that he's making Colossus until it's too late, because now this is the first sign you have that he has Colossus, and you're dead because of it. So this is why I really dislike the 3 racks opener. It's very powerful. You can win a lot of games before 10 minutes, before 12 minutes with it. But if you get stuck past 12 minutes, you're pretty much doomed if you don't know what he's doing by then, because you can get surprised by 3 Colossus and just up and lose. Also, just Zealots with Charge and Psystorm with some Sentries does really well against M&M as well, especially when there's only 2 Medivacs or no Medivacs. Yeah, I would recommend definitely going for a 2 racks factory build instead of this heavy racks build, because Banshees are very good against everything TOS can make except for Phoenix, and Phoenix are pretty pointless. I mean, very few people make Phoenix. So, yeah, get 1 starport making Banshees and another starport with a reactor core making either double Medivac or Medivacs and Vikings, depending on if you've seen Colossus yet. And that way, if he goes Colossus, you'll already have a bunch of Banshees and at least stand a chance. Also, you did the right thing, 1 core and then a bunch of tech, so the deeper into the game you get, the more emphasis you're putting on Marauders, and that's great. That's just the right thing. The later into the game you get, the less useful Marines are. Marines are extremely good until 12 minutes, and then they're all crap from then on. So yes, I used to do this build, and I used to lose with it the same way you just lost with it, and I understand your woe is me-ishness about this game. It's hard to pinpoint exactly why this loses, because it's so powerful 1 second and so weak the next second. And you can win so many games with it doing the exact same thing. It's all about, you know, just happening not to notice the Colossus in time, or bad use of your units. That was just really bad use of your units. In this case, you would have lost the battle no matter what you did, but you definitely never want to do that, because if you had had a chance in this battle, you would have blown that chance by stimming and running right into him. Because Zealots are, other than Colossus, Zealots are his strongest unit, And so the longer his zealots spend not attacking, the better you're doing. So running towards him is always a bad idea because it allows his zealots to fight. Yeah. So I would say right here was your chance. You were pretty doomed, but your chance to win was if you had seen this. Okay, you haven't seen Colossus at all yet. You're building a gold. You know there's an observer floating over you because you've seen it. Now, you see some stalkers. Good, I can kill stalker. Ah, a Colossus. So the second you see a Colossus, run back to your bunkers. Start building another bunker here, another bunker here, and another bunker here. Cancel this gold, cancel this refinery. And cancel everything at your starport and start double producing Vikings and throw down 2 more starports. Fully saturate your gas because you have only one guy in this gas, and there you go. That's what I would do. So it's okay to cower in fear if the alternative is losing the entire game. You never want to see Colossus and say, well, I have a lot of Marines, maybe my Marines can kill him, because Marines can't kill him. There's no chance. Marines are just really bad against Colossus. So that was your only chance, I think, in this game. That, and you could clearly have won if you had attacked anywhere from 9 minutes to 12 minutes. You would have just won the game flat out, no question. So yeah, that just went really badly. These zealots are actually getting a chance to hit people, and they're so shocked. They're like, man, we never get a chance to hit people. This is awesome. Alright, so I'm very impressed with your macro skills. I'm very impressed with the number of units you made, and I'm very impressed with the number of workers you made. You did start to slip on workers as we got deeper into the game, and that's bad. Like, up to 8 minutes, you were doing great. Like, right here, you got 28 by 8 minutes, and that's perfect. That's, like, right on benchmark. But then, deeper in, at 10 minutes... Oh, you didn't have an expo yet, so that makes sense. I'm kind of glad you cut workers. But you were behind by 4 at 10 minutes, but it's okay to be behind if you don't even have an expo. So anytime you build your expo this late, you're one-basing. Go attack. Because you're never going to compete with somebody by making a late expo if you made an early expo, you know? So yeah, this expo timing is just silly. It's perfectly legitimate to make an 11-minute expo or a 10-minute expo if your plan is to attack and then make a 10-minute expo. But if you don't attack, making a 10-minute expo is suicidal. It's just crazy. That's really late, because max saturation on one base with 2 gas is 8 minutes. So if you don't have your expo done at 8 minutes, then every second from 8 minutes until it's done is just time when you got idle SCVs. Against TOS, I don't recommend an early expo, so I definitely recommend an attack before 12 minutes. You should pretty much always be attacking TOS after 9 minutes and before 12 minutes, if you're going to expo that late. So, throughout the game after this point, I'm just going to watch and see how you did on an SCVs. You're slipping right there, you're slipping right there, you're slipping right there. You're slipping, you're slipping. You're slipping, you're slipping. You're slipping, you're slipping. So this is something you got to worry about, is that in the early part of the game, when you've got nothing to think about but hitting SCVs, it's really easy not to queue up SCVs and still hit your SCV timings, right? But the deeper into the game you go, the more things you have to do. The complexity of a build just kind of exponentially grows as you go deeper into a game. And so you start to miss more and more SCV timing. So the deeper into the game you get, the more you need to queue up SCVs. And it looks like you know that. You were queuing up 2, that kind of stuff. And Protoss is not nearly as much about how many SCVs you made as Zerg is. In a TvZ, if you miss a couple of SCV timings, you're just kind of wasting the biggest advantage that Terran has against Zerg. So still you're missing a lot here. So I'm really impressed with your macro. You have very good macro. But this build, the idea of what you're